Hi guys, welcome to the part 2 of Python list methods. In the initial video or the video before this, just check it out. It's an introduction to Python lists, and we worked with a few things like a few methods like append, insert, and stuff like that. So check it out. So in this part 2, we're going to be accessing a list, and we're going to be deleting elements from a list. Right, so let's just get to it. Now, we already have an existing list. In fact, we have two of them, which is, we have this, we have list underscore numbers 1. We use this to append, or no, rather extend this. So that's why you can see these guys over here. Now, to access a list, here what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to access a list. Right, so what we're going to do here is we look at list underscore numbers, and we say we want to access a list. You can basically look at this by saying, okay, what do I want to access? I want to access the first element, and the first element is the second element, or rather when I say first, like 0, 1, but 0 is the first element in terms of numbering, but that second element, so to speak. Right, so once you do that, you can access elements using index. So here I'm going to write accessing elements using index. So that's one. So that works that way. Now the next thing we're going to be looking at is that we want to look at removing, or basically deleting elements from a list, and we want to think of the first thing we use when working with this element. So what we're going to be doing is, so we're going to list them out. So we're going to list the methods for deleting or removing. So let me just call it deleting for lack of better words, but that's a better word actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to list them. So it's going to be clear. Then we're going to talk about pop, then remove, then finally we are going to talk about del, which is deleting. So we start off with the first, clear. So we already have list underscore numbers, which is what we used to do and extend in the video before this. Check it out. Right, and so we could basically use the clear method, and so what this does is it makes it an empty list. All right, so that's what it does. So once we do this and then we check this out, now it's an empty list. Boom. Right, so that's that. Now the next one we're going to look at is we're going to look at pop. Right, so here with pop, we would show you what pop does. Now, if we use the pop method, looking at numbers, so let's call this so you can see what we're doing here. Right, if we use the pop method, so let's put this here. Normally, just to put context, pop method, I'll normally put it to the side. Right, so if we use this, what we'll do is when we list these numbers and we use the pop method, the first pop method is going to go to the end of the elements here and pop out the last guy. And so just like the word pop goes, it's just going to bring it out. It's just going to pop it out. So look at what happens. So when we pop this, you see 12, and it's no longer in here. So when we look at what is in here, see that it's now out. Now the next thing we're going to do is that you can also use pop, but with an index, to take out what you would want, taken out, instead of the default of just going to the last element in the list. So here we use list numbers.pop, but this time we add an element to it. So here I want to take out 11, so I'll say -1, so you can see that. So what it does is Oh, there's an error. Oh, there's a mistake here. Sorry. Then we'll pop this out and you have 11. Now, one last thing is, when we're talking about pop, is I can choose to say pop underscore num and then create a variable out of it, then pop stuff into it, pop an element into it. So I say list underscore numbers dot pop. Then I would look at, say I want to pop out 10. So I could choose, let me start from beginning, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9. And so that means I can print out pop underscore number or num, and I have 10. So yeah, so that's how you pop stuff out using the pop method. Now the next one we are going to talk about is remove, right? So we're going to have remove method. Now with the remove method, you simply would call call the number dot remove, and then we look at what we already have and say, okay, we want to remove something from the list we have. So we have list underscore numbers. Why do I keep making this error? All right, so now I want to remove 8. So I say, okay, 9. So I remove 9, right? So when I call the list underscore numbers, see that is out. Now that's what the remove function does. Now the final one we're going to be looking at is del. We're going to be looking at del. So here again, just document the del method, which is delete. So interesting thing, first thing is you use the keyword del. You call list underscore numbers, which is our lists of interest here. Then we'll use indexes. You see the index? Yes. So now we're going to look at the index again, just like I told you. If I say -1, it's just going to pop out this last guy here. And so if I have list underscore numbers again, you see that we have 6. It's 6 that is here, the last one now. So basically, this is how it is. And again, just like all we've been doing, if you try to delete or remove an element that does not exist, you're going to have an index error. For instance, if I choose to delete from list numbers, I want to delete from here list numbers, and I create an index, and I want to say index 10, nothing's there. You see you have an index error, and lists assignment index out of range. Right, so here we've looked at how to remove or access elements. So we use index here to access elements. We use the clear method to basically remove every element in the list. Use the pop method to pop out the last element in the list. And the cool thing about pop is that you see what has been popped. And you can also go ahead to use an index location or position number to an index position to pop stuff out. And you can also store whatever you pop out in a variable. Then we looked at remove. Remove is pretty straightforward. You use the elements you're looking for, or the element of interest, and you remove it. And finally, with the del keyword, you use an index to remove an element. Right, so take your time out and listen to this video, and try this out. Also, like it if you think it's cool, share with your friends and enemies, subscribe in case I put out more videos, you get the notification. Thank you for listening to this and watching too.